Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Easy English Podcast. I'm Hannah, and as always, I am here with my co-host, Alex.
Hi, Hannah, and hello to all our wonderful listeners around the world. We are so glad you are tuning in today.
Today, we have a very special episode for you. It is a slow, beginner-friendly listening story. This means we will speak a little more slowly and use clear, simple words so you can follow along easily.
That is right. And today's story is really fun. It is about a neighborhood picnic, some delicious fresh strawberries, and a very funny mix-up. Have you ever made a mistake with food, Hannah?
Oh, definitely, many times. But before we start the story, let's talk about the main topic, a neighborhood picnic. Alex, what is a neighborhood picnic?
Well, a neighborhood is the area around your home, where your neighbors live. A picnic is when you pack some food, go outside to a park or a garden, sit on a blanket, and eat together. So, a neighborhood picnic is a social event where people who live near each other meet up, share food, and talk.
Exactly. It is a wonderful way to make new friends and enjoy the warm weather. In our story today, our main character is a young woman named Lily. Lily loves her neighborhood and she loves cooking.
Lily is very excited because today is the annual summer picnic in her local park. Everyone in the neighborhood is bringing a special dish to share. This is called a potluck, where everyone contributes some food.
Yes, potluck is a great word. You bring one dish and you get to taste many different dishes from other people. Lily wants to bring something fresh, sweet, and perfect for a warm summer day. Can you guess what she decides to bring, Alex?
Let me think. Fresh fruit is always a big hit at picnics. Maybe watermelon? Or perhaps some sweet red strawberries.
You got it, strawberries. Lily goes to the local farmer's market in the morning. She buys 3 large bowls of the brightest, juiciest, most beautiful red strawberries you have ever seen.
Wow, my mouth is watering just thinking about them. Fresh strawberries are so delicious. But wait, Lily wants to make them extra special, right? She doesn't just want to serve plain strawberries.
Right. She wants to make a classic dessert. Strawberries with cream and a little bit of sugar sprinkled on top to make them extra sweet. In English, when we say sprinkle, it means to drop small pieces or grains of something lightly over food. For example, you can sprinkle salt on chips or sprinkle sugar on fruit.
Sprinkle is a very useful word. So Lily wants to sprinkle sugar on her strawberries. She goes back to her kitchen to prepare everything. She washes the strawberries carefully, cuts them into neat halves, and places them in a beautiful glass bowl.
Next, she whipped up some fresh, fluffy cream. Now she just needs to find her sugar shaker. A shaker is a small container with holes in the top, used for shaking out spices or condiments. You usually have a salt shaker and a pepper shaker on the dinner table.
And this is where the trouble begins, isn't it, Hannah?
Yes, indeed. In Lily's kitchen, she has 2 very beautiful, matching glass shakers. They look exactly the same. They are the same size, the same shape, and both have silver tops with tiny holes.
Oh, no. I can see where this is going. One shaker has white, granulated sugar inside. The other shaker has white, fine salt inside. Since the shakers are identical, which means they look exactly the same, it is very easy to mix them up if you're in a hurry.
And Lily is in a big hurry. She hears the music playing from the park down the street. She can hear her neighbors laughing and chatting. She doesn't want to be late. So she quickly grabs one of the glass shakers from the shelf, puts it in her picnic basket next to the strawberries and cream, and runs out the door.
She thinks she grabbed the sugar shaker. But, dear listeners, as you might have guessed, Lily actually grabbed the salt shaker. She has no idea.
She is completely clueless. She arrives at the park, and the atmosphere is wonderful. There are colorful balloons, children running around, and a long table covered with a white tablecloth. The table is filled with amazing food: potato salad, grilled sandwiches, fresh bread, and lemonade.
Lily finds a spot on the long table and proudly sets down her beautiful glass bowl of red strawberries, the bowl of whipped cream, and her little glass shaker. She thinks this is going to be the perfect summer dessert.
By the way, if you are enjoying this story today, a simple thumbs up or subscribing to our channel really helps us reach more English learners around the world.
It really does. And please leave any vocabulary questions in the comments, as we love answering them. Anyway, back to Lily's picnic story.
Soon it is time for dessert. Mr. Green, Lily's next-door neighbor, comes over. He is an older gentleman who loves sweets. He looks at Lily's strawberries and says, "Oh, Lily, these look absolutely delightful. Can I try some?"
Lily smiles warmly and says, "Of course, Mr. Green. Please help yourself. Put some whipped cream on top, and don't forget to sprinkle some sugar from the shaker."
So, Mr. Green takes a large spoonful of the bright red strawberries. He places them carefully into a small paper bowl. Then, he adds a huge, fluffy dollop of the whipped cream. He looks very happy. Now, it is time for the final touch, the sugar, or what he thinks is sugar.
Exactly. He picks up the little glass shaker. He shakes it generously over his bowl. "A little more sugar makes everything better," he says with a big smile. He shakes it 3, 4, 5 times. A fine white powder falls all over his strawberries and cream.
To shake means to move something up and down or side to side quickly. For example, you should shake the bottle of orange juice before you drink it. Or, he shakes hands when he meets someone new. In this case, Mr. Green is shaking the salt shaker, thinking it is sugar.
Yes, he has no idea. He puts the shaker down, takes a big metal spoon, scoops up a strawberry, a lot of cream, and a lot of that white powder. He opens his mouth wide and takes a huge bite. Lily is watching him, waiting for him to tell her how delicious it is.
But as soon as the food enters his mouth, Mr. Green's face completely changes. His eyes go very wide, his eyebrows go up, and then they scrunch together. He stops chewing. He looks incredibly surprised. For a second, he doesn't know what to do.
I can just picture his face. He is trying to be polite, right? He is a nice neighbor, so he doesn't want to spit it out on the beautiful green grass. But salt and strawberries? Oh, that must taste terrible. It is a very weird combination.
It really is. A combination is when you put two or more things together. For example, blue and yellow make a great color combination. But salt, strawberries, and cream? That is a terrible combination. Mr. Green's mouth is full of salty whipped cream.
He swallows it with a lot of effort. His throat moves and he makes a funny little gulp sound. He quickly grabs a cup of cold lemonade from the table and drinks the whole thing in 1 second. Gulp, gulp, gulp. He needs to wash away that salty taste.
Lily looks at him, feeling very worried. She asks, "Mr. Green, are you okay? Is something wrong with the strawberries?" Mr. Green clears his throat. He tries to smile, but his eyes are watering. He says, "Well, Lily, they are very interesting. They're very unique. They are a bit savory."
Savory. That is a polite way to say they taste like dinner, not dessert. Usually, savory describes foods that are salty or spicy, like soup or pizza, not strawberries. Lily is confused. She says, "Savory? But they are sweet strawberries with sugar."
Just then, Mrs. Gable, another neighbor, walks over. She sees the beautiful strawberries and says, "Ooh, I want some too." Before Mr. Green can stop her, Mrs. Gable takes a bowl, adds the strawberries, the cream, and shakes a lot of the white powder on top.
Oh no! She is about to make the same mistake. She takes a big bite. Instantly, her face twists. She looks like she just ate a whole lemon. She gasps and says, "Oh my goodness, Lily, what is in this shaker? This is not sweet at all. It is extremely salty."
To gasp means to breathe in suddenly because you are surprised or shocked. For example, she gasped when she saw the beautiful view. Here, Mrs. Gable gasps because of the shocking salty taste. Lily's jaw drops. She looks at the shaker in her hand.
Lily says, "Salty? That can't be." She unscrews the top of the shaker. She sticks her finger inside, gets a tiny bit of the white powder, and puts it on her tongue. Her eyes go wide. "Oh my goodness," she cries. "It is salt. I brought the salt shaker from the kitchen stove instead of the sugar shaker."
She realizes her mistake. She brought salt to a strawberry party. For a moment, Lily feels very embarrassed. Her face turns as red as her strawberries. She thinks, "Oh no, I ruined the dessert. Everyone is going to think I am a terrible cook."
But then Mr. Green starts to chuckle. To chuckle means to laugh quietly. He says, "Well, Lily, I knew you like to try new recipes, but salt on strawberries is definitely the most creative recipe yet." His chuckle turns into a loud, warm laugh.
And then Mrs. Gable starts laughing too. She says, "I was wondering why my fruit salad tasted so much like French fries." Soon, Lily starts laughing as well. The embarrassment disappears. The whole table is laughing together.
That is the best way to handle an awkward situation. If you make a mistake, just laugh about it. It makes everyone feel comfortable. Lily laughs and says, "I am so sorry, everyone. Let me fix this right now. Please don't eat any more salty strawberries."
So how does she fix it? Lily runs back to her house. It is only a 2-minute walk down the street. She runs into her kitchen, goes straight to the cupboard, and finds the real sugar shaker. This one is made of blue glass, not clear glass. She will never mix them up again.
That is a smart way to solve the problem. She grabs the blue sugar shaker and runs back to the park. She is breathing a little fast, but she is smiling. She walks up to the dessert table and holds up the blue shaker like a trophy. "The real sugar has arrived," she announces.
Everyone cheers. Mr. Green and Mrs. Gable get fresh bowls. They put new strawberries and fresh cream in them. Lily carefully shakes the sweet white sugar from the blue shaker onto their bowls. This time, there is no mistake.
Mistake. Mr. Green takes a bite and his face lights up with joy. He says, "Now this is perfection." They all sit under the warm sun, eating sweet strawberries, laughing about the salty mistake, and enjoying the beautiful afternoon together.
It really is a perfect ending to a funny afternoon. But you know, Alex, this story actually teaches us some very useful English words and expressions that we can use in our everyday lives. Shall we look at a few of them?
That is a great idea, Hannah. Learning English through stories is so helpful because you can see how the words are used in real situations. Let us start with a word we used a lot in the story, mistake. Can you explain what a mistake is?
Of course. A mistake is something you do that is wrong or not correct. It is usually an accident. You do not mean to do it. For example, Lily made a mistake when she grabbed the salt instead of the sugar. She did not do it on purpose.
Exactly. We often use the verb make with mistake. We say to make a mistake. For example, "I made a mistake on my English test." Or, "Don't worry, everyone makes mistakes sometimes." It is very natural to say.
Yes, that is a super common collocation. Another great word from the story is embarrassed or embarrassment. When Lily realized she gave everyone salty strawberries, she felt embarrassed. This is that uncomfortable, warm feeling you get in your face when you do something silly or wrong in front of other people.
Oh, I know that feeling so well. Your cheeks get red and you just want to disappear. Here's an example sentence. "I felt so embarrassed when I tripped and fell in front of the whole school." But as we saw in the story, Lily's embarrassment disappeared when everyone started to laugh.
Exactly.
Disappear is another excellent word. It means to go away so that you cannot see it anymore. The sun can disappear behind the clouds, or your keys can disappear when you lose them. In Lily's case, her bad feelings disappeared when she saw her friends laughing.
That is a lovely way to use it. Now, let us talk about the word cupboard. In the story, Lily ran back to her kitchen and found the real sugar shaker in her cupboard. A cupboard is a piece of furniture with shelves and doors, usually in a kitchen, used for storing food, plates, or cups.
Yes, and the pronunciation can be a bit tricky for English learners. We do not pronounce the P sound. We do not say cup-bird. We say it like cupboard. Can you say it for our listeners, Alex?
Sure, it sounds like cupboard. Let me use it in a simple sentence. The cereal is in the kitchen cupboard. It is a very common word in British and American homes.
Perfect. Let us also look at the word trophy. When Lily ran back to the picnic, she held up the blue sugar shaker like a trophy. A trophy is a prize, like a gold cup, that you get when you win a game, a race, or a competition.
Right. If you win a soccer tournament, you get a shiny trophy. Lily held up the sugar shaker like a trophy because she felt like a winner. She finally found the correct ingredient to save the picnic.
She really did. And when she got back, she put the sugar on the strawberries, and Mr. Green's face lit up. To light up is a wonderful phrasal verb. When someone's face lights up, it means they suddenly look very happy or excited. Their eyes get big and they smile widely.
I love that expression. For example, the little boy's face lit up when he saw his birthday cake. It is such a visual way to describe happiness. It is like a light bulb goes on inside their head because they're so glad.
Exactly. And Mr. Green's face lit up because the strawberries tasted so good. He said, "Now this is perfection." The word perfection comes from the adjective perfect. Perfection is the state of being completely perfect, without any mistakes or faults.
Yes, when something cannot get any better, you can say it is perfection. For example, this warm summer weather is absolute perfection. Or the chocolate cake was pure perfection. It is a very strong and positive word.
It really is. Now, let us talk about how Lily solved her problem. She had 2 shakers, and they looked exactly the same. So she changed her sugar container to a blue glass shaker. This way, she would never mix them up again. What does mix up mean, Alex?
To mix up means to confuse two things with each other because they look similar. In this case, Lily mixed up the salt and the sugar because both shakers were clear glass. Another example is, I always mix up the twin sisters because they look identical. Or, I mixed up the dates and arrived 1 day early for the meeting.
That is a very common mistake to make. It is so easy to mix things up when you are in a hurry. That is why it is always a good idea to double check. To double check means to check something a second time to make sure it is correct.
Oh yes, I always double check that I have my keys in my pocket before I lock my front door. If Lily had double checked by tasting the white powder before putting it on the strawberries, she would have known it was salt.
That is true, but then we would not have this funny story to share with our listeners today. Sometimes mistakes lead to the best memories and the loudest laughs. The neighbors will probably talk about Lily's salty strawberries for years to come.
They certainly will. It will be a classic neighborhood story. Remember that time Lily made us eat salty fruit salad? It's those little moments that bring people closer together. When you can laugh at yourself, other people feel closer to you too.
That is so true, Alex. When we show people our mistakes and just laugh about them, we become more human to them. It shows we do not take ourselves too seriously. And in Lily's case, she actually managed to turn a disaster into a delicious treat by adding that sweet whipped cream. It made the salty taste go away completely.
Exactly. Let us look at that word disaster for a moment. A disaster is something that goes completely wrong, or a sudden accident that causes a lot of trouble. For example, the party was a disaster because the cake fell on the floor. But in our story, Lily avoided a total disaster with her quick thinking.
Yes, and another great word to look at is to fix. In English, to fix means to make something right again or to repair something that is broken or wrong. You can fix a broken bicycle, but you can also fix a bad situation. Lily fixed the strawberry dessert by adding cream. What is another example of fixing a situation, Alex?
Well, if you forget a friend's birthday, that is a bad situation. But you can fix it by calling them the next day, apologizing, and taking them out for a nice coffee. That is a way of fixing your mistake. It's all about finding a solution.
A solution. That is the answer to a problem. In our story, the whipped cream was the perfect solution. It balanced the flavors. To balance is a great verb to use when we talk about food. It means to bring different tastes together in a way that is pleasant and not too strong in one direction. For example, the sweetness of the sugar and the cream balanced the sharp taste of the salt.
We also use balance for other things in life, like work-life balance. That means you don't work too much and you have enough time to relax with your family. It's all about keeping things equal and healthy. I always try to balance my time between reading English books and listening to podcasts like ours.
That is a very good balance to have. Now, let us review some of the vocabulary we learned today about taste, because we used a few specific words. We talked about sweet, salty, and we can also talk about sour. Lily's strawberries were a little sour before she added the sweetness. Can you explain the difference between these tastes, Alex?
Of course. Sweet is the taste of sugar, honey, or ripe fruit. Most people love sweet things like chocolates and cakes. Salty is the taste of salt, like potato chips or ocean water. And sour is the sharp, acidic taste of lemons or green apples. When you eat something sour, your face might squeeze up like this.
I can see your face right now, Alex, and it is very funny. Yes, lemons are definitely sour. Sometimes strawberries can be a bit sour if they're not fully ripe. That is why people like to add a little sugar to them, but definitely not salt. Unless, of course, you are trying to make a very unusual salad.
Yes, please keep the salt for the potatoes. Another word I want to mention is recovery. We talked about social recovery today. In a social situation, a recovery is how you make things good again after an embarrassing moment. Lily's recovery was excellent because she did not get angry or run away. She stayed, laughed, and found a way to make everyone happy again.
That is the best way to handle any embarrassing moment. If you spill a drink or if you say the wrong word in English, do not worry. Just smile, say oops, and try again. People are very kind, and they will usually laugh with you, not at you. That is a great tip for English learners, too. Do not be afraid of making mistakes when you speak.
I agree completely. Making mistakes is actually the fastest way to learn. When you make a mistake and someone helps you fix it, you will remember the correct way forever. Just like Lily will always remember which shaker is the blue one.
She certainly will. Well, Alex, I think we have covered so many wonderful words today. We talked about mixing up things, double-checking our work, fixing situations, and balancing different areas of our lives. It has been a very tasty episode.
It really has, Hannah. I am actually feeling a little hungry now. I think I might go and have some strawberries myself. But I will definitely double-check the sugar container before I pour anything on them. Thank you so much to all our wonderful listeners for spending time with us today. Keep practicing your English, don't fear the mistakes, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye, everyone.